All right, so I'm here today to give you just a brief rundown of what all is needed to make your side-by-side street legal in North Carolina. I get asked this question at least once a week when people see me riding my Pioneer 1000 on the road. I had two people just last week stop and ask me. So this is not legal advice. This may not apply to any other states, but I'm just basing this off of my experience with the DMV in North Carolina. So the best thing to do is you can Google it, or you can go directly to the North Carolina Department of Transportation's website and pull up their MVR 59 form. That's a modified utility vehicle affidavit, and that will show you the checklist of everything that's needed. But what I did on my Pioneer, and this may vary by model as well, but they require turn signals. So I used the Turn Signal Pros kit, which they offer several different options here. I opted for the smoke lenses. So on the front, I had to drill those 3. On the rear, it is integrated into the actual factory tail light itself. So I'll show you the rocker switch that comes with. So I just mounted it here, and it's just left and right turn signals. It operates very simply. So left turn signal, as you can see, and the rear is integrated into that. So that was the first thing. Obviously it comes with headlights, tail lights. They require rear reflectors. So I don't know how critical that is, but I had some red reflective vinyl that I put on mine. Obviously you have to have a license plate. So mine, the Turn Signal Pros kit, I opted for the license plate bracket with the light. You have to have a windshield wiper. So I bought this manual windshield wiper off of Amazon. I don't know that I've ever used it. It's only about 20 bucks and gets you past inspection. They also require a parking brake. So I questioned several different DMV staff about this, because technically, in my opinion, when it's in park, that is a parking brake. There's some companies out there that make a parking brake that mounts down there to the foot pedal where you can lock the pedal down. It's about 90 bucks. That's 90 bucks that I would never use. Next is a rear view mirror. So the Pioneers, most of them at least, come with a rear view mirror. So mine from the factory was already here. And a windshield. So mine already had a windshield. They say you can get by without a windshield, but then you're required to wear a helmet with goggles. So I didn't want to have to wear a helmet every time I rode on the street, so the windshield is nice to have. Seat belts. So Pioneers come with seat belts, so we're covered there. So really the only thing I had to add was the windshield wiper and the turn signals and the reflectors in the rear. Next, you take this to license and inspection location. So wherever you would get your normal vehicle inspected, they can run through the inspection. The easiest thing, just because people are more familiar with it in North Carolina, is to either take it to a UTV dealership. So I took it back where I bought this one from, had them inspect it. They check the MVR 59 form, they sign it. Next step is you go to the License and Theft Bureau for the DMV in your area. So this is where the license and theft agents in my area were fairly familiar with the process, because they had done a few. This is still relatively new in North Carolina. So what I did was this on a trailer to the license and theft agency. I had been there several times asking questions, so they were already familiar with me. I didn't have to unload it. They came out to the parking lot. They ran through the checklist to make sure that at the first inspection that they captured everything. And then from there, you take that, they fill out a notarized form. The MVR 59 is signed and notarized. You take that to your license plate agency. You have to either have your title or a bill of sale, and present that to the DMV, you pay your fees for that. Oh, and I skipped a step, I'm sorry. You have to have insurance. So in North Carolina, Geico was my cheapest option. I checked around. I have my other vehicles through Farm Bureau, but they were extremely expensive. Geico had full coverage for, I don't know, close to $400 for the year, so not terrible. So when you go to the DMV, you take your MVR 59 form, your notarized form from license and theft, your proof of insurance, and your title or bill of sale. Once you have all that, you can present it to the license plate agency, pay your license and registration fees. They will print you a registration card just like with your car or truck and give you a full-size plate. So some of the common misconceptions that I've heard from people, you know, that you can get a motorcycle plate for these. You can't. Now, once again, this is not my legal advice. I'm not a DMV employee. I'm not a lawyer, but every single one that I've seen on the roads is a full-size car plate, not a motorcycle plate. I've had people tell me you don't have to have a windshield. Pretty much have to have a windshield. People have said you have to have a horn. Surprisingly, that's not on the checklist. Now, I did add a horn because, you know, when it boils down to safety, if they're really doing it for safety, in my opinion, a horn is more important than a parking brake, which I'll never use. I very rarely use it on my truck. So I added a horn. There's plenty of options out there. I went through horn blasters. They have an awesome option. I'll try to show it to you. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but right here I have a set of 2 air horns turned sideways, and this is behind my radiator. I have another video which I can link to where I show the install of this, but this is Horn Blaster's electric train horn, which fits perfect on here. And then what I did was just ordered a push button off of Amazon here, so just a momentary push button. It kind of stays out of the way, and it works perfectly for what I need. Just a few other misconceptions that I forgot to mention that I hear often is that you have to have DOT tires. So nowhere on that form does it have a checkbox for DOT tires. However, I will say that the road has pretty much destroyed these factory tires, and they're noisy, and you get a little bit of a wobble around 55, 60 miles an hour. It's not terrible. You would probably be better off with an all-terrain radial, which I will go to eventually once these wear out, but I didn't see any need in trashing a brand new nice set of tires. So once these wear out, I'll be moving over to a radial all-terrain. You know, it passed inspection, no issues. The guy looked at the tires, never said anything about it. Another thing is that, and a lot of these misconceptions I found out come from people who don't have a street legal side-by-side, so they're just going off of what they've heard. But a lot of people, I had a guy tell me the other day that you could ride on a 4 or 5 lane. So nowhere in my interpretation of the law or based on the DMV license and theft agents that I spoke to does it say that that's legal. So the way I understood it was anywhere that's 55 mile an hour or less, 2-lane roads. So at least where I live, that's pretty much everywhere I want to ride. If I have to go, you know, half mile to a mile on a 3 or 4 lane, I will. Not saying that's right or wrong, but like a 2-lane divided, so technically that's 4 lanes, because 2 lane with a median and then 2 other lanes, that's technically illegal. Now that may change. It may have changed since I've put tags on this. It's been, I don't know, 7-8 months since I've put tags on this, and my rule of thumb is basically, you know, as long as you're not riding on interstates or out there acting a fool, most cops are going to leave you alone. And, you know, you can ask 3 different cops and get 3 different answers, but I have, rather than risking it, I just stay on the 2 lanes because it carries me pretty much everywhere I want to go around my house. So I think that's everything from what I did to get this street legal, and I've put close to 700 miles on this just on the roadways, all over where I live, out of town. I probably pass more police officers on this than I do in my everyday truck, and I've never had one even tap the brakes. I've never been stopped. You do get some funny looks from people who think you're doing something illegal, but it's still relatively new in North Carolina. But me and my family, we love it. I take it everywhere. I go to the grocery store, I go to the dump, I go wherever. So hopefully this helps and hopes clear up some confusion for what you need in North Carolina. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time.